Now, not every photo trip I go on turns out to be a success. Indeed, I come back empty-handed on a number of occasions. And in these 4 brief examples, I'm going to show you outings that failed and explain why. Now, this first outing took place last autumn and I went out with my large format camera and 6x12 back. Now, I set off full of enthusiasm and I made my way along the seafront, the promenade at New Brighton in northwest England. It was a dull day, fair enough. I wasn't expecting miracles, but I had black and white HP5 Plus and I did my usual sort of intro, explain what I was going to shoot, and I was really hopeful at this point because it was midweek, nobody else around, very pleasant to be there on my own. Plenty of options as well, you got the tide marker there and there's the rock pools. Particularly like these sea defences as well. Sea defences are something I always like working with because they give quite dramatic lines and sweep. Also, this sort of this form and shape you're getting with these concrete blocks is superb. So all going pretty well up to this point, and I thought to myself, right, I'm going to start shooting around the old Fort Perch Rock, and I got myself lined up here with the position, and I walked out to survey some of the rocks and weed, and that's where it all went horribly wrong, sadly, as my Panasonic G80 took a nosedive and landed straight in the sand. Now the problem with that is my Panasonic G80 isn't particularly robust, and the little 12 to 32 zoom, and when I pulled it out the sand it was crunchy and it was horrible, and there's actually scratches on the barrel now as well where I've moved it in and out, which is a pretty stupid thing to do. But I felt pretty low at that point. That was the only vlogging camera I had with me, and I didn't really have the heart to carry on then because the lens was pretty much gummed up. I've managed to free it up a bit. It's not too bad now. It's okay for vlogging, but that's one way a trip will end. Now I headed out. Well, lovely location in Wales. Got it just right in timing. It's about half an hour before sunrise. Yeah, perfect. Half an hour before sunrise. I thought this was going to be great. They'd forecast lovely cloud formations. But I think, as you can see here, and I had colour film loaded as well, it wasn't really turning out to be the dramatic skies I'd hoped for. Now, I've shot here dozens of times before, and there's no point me wasting film shooting blank empty skies. And as you can see, it just got clearer and clearer, and there was nothing to shoot. So what do? Do you carry on shooting? Well, I didn't. I actually packed up and went home. I was only there for an hour and a half. It is a 2-hour drive there and back, but very pleasant nonetheless. But yeah, if the light's not what you're after and it's somewhere you shoot regular, then yeah, I just call that a wasted trip, but pff, it happens. Now, the next outing was one I am really kicking myself for, and I'm still disappointed in myself because on this one it was the cold that got to me. I actually froze up and I gave up in the end. But it all started so promisingly. I mean, I got to a location before sunrise, and it was going to be a sunrise this morning, so I did the usual, explained what I was shooting, and look at the background there. Just look at the magnificent mountains that are sat there. It's phenomenal. I look at it now and I am actually almost crying because I have wasted this fantastic opportunity. I don't know what I was thinking, to be honest. I do know what I was thinking. I was absolutely blooming freezing. I was absolutely freezing. It's absolutely freezing. There's absolutely chilly, icy wind blowing. I'm sat in the car. Yeah, well, that was the best place at the time to be sat in the car. It really was. My feet had got absolutely numb like blocks of ice. So despite me carrying on, and I did shoot some with the G9, I broke out the Bronica, which I took with me, and I put a long lens on, and I loaded a roll of Fuji Provia 100, and I shot half a roll there before packing up and heading off down to, well, what has to be one of the most popular locations in Snowdonia, Llyn. And as you can see, Snowdon and the mountains in the background look absolutely magnificent with the cloud over them. And I shot off probably the rest of that roll of Provia, but also I shot a lot with the digital G9. And I did get a nice panoramic actually out of it with the G9, but I was really hoping for something good. I was tripping over all the time, and I was getting colder, and the gear was getting wet in the boggy marshes. And it got to that point where I just gave up, and I'd been out for probably 3 or 4 hours by now, but I was so cold and so disheartened. I ended up, believe it or not, taking the roll of film out from the back of the camera, and I'd never got it exposed. I think I chucked it away. I was that I don't know, I was just that low. It was sort of mid-December and I was really, really not feeling it. I wasn't very enthusiastic about anything at that time. But I look back now and I kick myself because that really was a wasted opportunity and I should have spent the £6 or £7 getting that roll developed. So yeah, totally stupid. Should have manned up, got my feet warm back in the car and ventured out again. It looked fantastic and it looks great now to me. And next time I ain't going to do that. I'm not going to do it. Now this last example is something that happens to all of us at times. It's when, you don't know, you're just not feeling it at all, right from the off. There's nothing to do with the light really. It's nothing to do with the camera or the location. It was just me this time. I am absolutely not feeling it whatsoever. Yeah, well that sums it up. I mean, it's not often I say that to camera, but it's true on this occasion. It's a location I live nearby, so I can go any time I like, all times of year, apart from obviously recently in this lockdown. But it is somewhere I need to get back out to, and I was convinced I wasn't going to fail. I even said so on the video itself. That's a wrap for today, but I'll be back because I don't give up. Well, I have today. And I did give up. I went home. I was only out for about 2.5 hours and I didn't take the camera bag off my back, not even once. I just didn't feel like it whatsoever. I couldn't see a photo for the life of me. Even with my little preview device, I just didn't get it whatsoever. Anyway, so there you are. There's 4 examples of why photo shoots might not work. There's the wrong light for what you're trying to shoot. There is equipment failure, which happens to us all. There is the cold, which terminates many a shoot, I'm sure. And finally, there's a total apathy, which does get to me sometimes, I'll be honest. So I hope you've enjoyed this little look at some of my less successful trips. But I will be out again soon. Now the conditions are easing and we're allowed out, I believe, pretty soon. So yes, thank you very much for watching and I'll see you again on the next trip.